Okay, we have an LG oven here giving in F9 heat error. Basically means it's not preheating after 5 minutes. There's no heat in there, and you can see the F9 error on the control panel here. So we're going to take it apart and see what we can find. First I pulled the oven out from the wall and unplugged it. Our plug is behind a drawer, which is a little bit unconventional. Next, you want to remove enough screws to remove that aluminum spine that goes down the middle, top to bottom. First, there's a panel in the upper left you have to remove to get access to the screws. And once you get the screws out of the middle panel, there's a hook that holds it in. I actually had to loosen a lot of the bolts from the top panel, which is off camera, above the camera, so that you could then shift the panel up just a centimeter or so to get the hook loose. It's kind of a pain, but it's self-explanatory when you see it. I'd seen a couple of videos on YouTube where there was a wire that had separated from a connector, so that's what I was expecting. And sure enough, as soon as I opened the oven, it was really clear that's what happened here. There's a white wire here, and it's black and hardened. I think these wires over 10 years of use, they just get hot and they get brittle, and the conductors in them oxidize, and even the insulators kind of get hard. You can see the right angle connector here where that white wire used to connect. So we pull the old connector out, and then the fix is to cut back the white wire, remove all of the damaged portion of it, and get a new connector on it to attach to that relay box. When I did this, I stripped it, and the insulation still felt fairly hard, and the copper inside was still oxidized. By that I mean it was black instead of copper colored. What I ended up doing is removing that tie wrap to get access to more of the white wire, and then kept cutting it back until it felt like I had some fresh and flexible wire there. By the way, it took me a while to figure this out, but this is 14 gauge wire. It was hard to read since the wire's so old. Once I felt like I had some good wire exposed, I needed to replace that connector. I didn't have a right angle spade connector, but I did have a straight one with some insulation around it for 14 gauge. And this seemed to work well. We crimp that tightly on the wire, and then just put it back on the terminal. Here's a close-up shot of the fix. I've seen this a couple of times on YouTube, so I think there is a root problem here where those wires get hot and they oxidize and their insulation kind of dries out over time. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again 5 or 10 years from now. Final step is just to put the covers back on, reverse the process you did before. Nothing too complex here. I should have mentioned there were about 6 wires connected to that relay board. The rest of the connections seem pretty solid, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they have the same issue a few years from now. Alright, so we cut back that crispy wire and crimped on a new connector, and we're back in business. You can see it's getting hot, preheating up above 100. And you can't see, but heat coming out of the oven, so fixed. I think that wire just heats up and over time just gets brittle. Hope that helps someone. Thanks.